Hello students, welcome back to geometry. Today we're going to start on section 5.2 on congruent polygons. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what does it mean for two polygons to be congruent? Polygons are congruent if their corresponding angles are congruent and their corresponding sides are congruent. Now, this word corresponding here, you might recognize that, you better recognize that from our parallel lines chapter. Corresponding means that it's the same piece but on a different shape. So, if I were to have two congruent shapes, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here because I can draw a nice triangle like that, and then I can push Control C and Control V to copy it. So I know for a fact that those two are congruent. I would say I've got triangle A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, in order for them to be corresponding pieces, they have to be the same piece but on a different shape. So, for example, angle A would be corresponding to angle D. Angle B would be corresponding to angle E, and angle C would be corresponding to angle F. In the same way, side AB would be corresponding to side DE. Side AC would be corresponding to DF, and side BC would be corresponding to EF. And if I know that these two polygons are congruent, then I can assume that all of their corresponding parts are congruent. Let's do a quick example. So for these two triangles, we're going to identify their corresponding parts and we're going to write a congruent statement. So when we write a congruent statement, I have to say that this triangle is congruent to the other triangle. And I can see that they're congruent because all three of the corresponding angles are congruent and all three of the corresponding sides are congruent. Now, one of the things you might notice about this is that I do have two congruent triangles, but they're oriented in a different direction. So that doesn't affect their corresponding parts, but in this case, the top angle does not correspond to the other top angle. So I have to keep in mind which one's corresponding to which. So the first thing that I want to do is write the congruent statement. Now, there are lots of different correct ways that we can do this, but I want to say that triangle LJK is congruent to another triangle. Now, I have to be careful here because if I say triangle LJK, I have to go in the exact same order on the other triangle. So, angle L has this one angle mark right there, so it has to correspond to the other one with only one mark. So that would be R. So that means I'm going to go triangle R. So I went L to J to K, 1 mark to 2 marks to 3 marks. So that means I would go R to T to S. And that's the congruent statement. Now, if I had chosen to go KJL, which would be the same triangle, I would change that by going STR. So there are a couple different correct ways to do this. Now, we're going to identify all the pairs of congruent corresponding parts. I like to do this by organizing it into angles and sides. Because now I know there are 3 angles and 3 sides, so I should have a total of 6 statements here. So I can say angle L is congruent to angle R. Angle J is congruent to angle T, and angle K is congruent to side angle S. For the sides, I'm going to say side JK is congruent to side ST, and side LK is congruent to side SR, and side JL is congruent to side RT. And that is how we identify corresponding parts of congruent polygons.